The action-packed new official trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home is here, and boy does it pack some exciting punches. Join me, your host Amanda McKnight, as we get into all the ins and outs of what is to be seen here and all the trailer's hidden secrets that you might have missed. This is the Spider-Man No Way Home Trailer Explained. First things first, we get a few rapid cuts. The first features a very rough-looking MCU Peter Parker in his Spider-Man suit but unmasked. He appears to be on a bridge. At least to me it looks like a bridge, with its rail and what appears to be a suspension or supporting vertical beam. In fact, this seems to be the George Washington Bridge based on something we're going to talk about later. In the unfocused background, we can see some twinkling lights on the surface of the water. We saw Peter fighting on a bridge in Spider-Man Far From Home, but that all went down during the day, so it's likely this isn't a flashback but instead is a new bridge fight. You can never have too many bridge fights in a Spider-Man movie, right? From there we get a couple quick shots of Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange and Alfred Molina's Doc Ock, with both of them looking intimidating and badass. Doctor Strange seems to be fighting to cast a spell or keep it contained, and Doc Ock is giving us a menacing glare, which is basically the standard Doc Ock look. Menacing glare. Blink and you might miss it, but the next few rapid shots feature Green Goblin zooming around on his Goblin glider, heading towards the camera, incoming with what appears to be his famous Goblin bombs. I will say that this version of the Green Goblin doesn't look quite like either Willem Dafoe's design as Norman Osborn's Green Goblin from director Sam Raimi's early 2000s Spider-Verse, nor Dane DeHaan's design as Harry Osborn's Green Goblin from the Amazing Spider-Man series. It also doesn't look like James Franco's design for Harry Osborn's Green Goblin from the Raimiverse either. Also, the Goblin bombs appear to be kind of more oval and a little more flat, at least in this shot, so it could be possible that it's either a redesign of the character, possibly Willem Dafoe's version, as there were actually redesigns floating around on Twitter that seemed to match up more with this look that were supposed leaks. Or it could be a new iteration of Green Goblin entirely. Or it could always be Mysterio messing with us. You know that I don't believe he's dead. Can't ever believe anything Mysterio does, even die. Quick cut to Electro being Electro and Spider-Man being Spider-Man in what appears to be the Iron Spider suit. Now we slow it down. Spider-Man stands maskless in the rain, looking beat up. We cut to him swinging across the city while his identity reveal is up on jumbo screens in what could be Times Square. A title comes across his face that reads Public Enemy #1. He also seems to be carrying someone with him as he swings past these screens. Probably MJ. Definitely looks like MJ to me. This is likely after Peter's identity was revealed at the end of Far From Home. Possibly just after or shortly after at least. Although I think this was just after. Peter in voiceover reminisces how everything has been pretty much chaos ever since he was bit by that radioactive spider, and how he's only had one normal week since then, which was when he told MJ the truth about his identity. As we gaze upon a bridge that I believe is in New Jersey where Spider-Man and a figure, likely also MJ, appear to be standing atop, a helicopter drops into the frame. Likely a newscopter that works for a news channel, WYPE. I'm not sure what that stands for, but if you know, let me know in the comments, because yeah, WYPE. We then get a closer shot of MJ and Spider-Man atop the bridge. Cut to Peter, who is on the phone, seemingly based on the cuts, talking to MJ on FaceTime, saying everything he just said in voiceover. We cut back to the ledge where Spider-Man seems to be jumping off with MJ, holding onto him for dear life, screaming as they fall. Next they whip into a subway station, a cut to likely a different moment in the movie where the two of them are still swinging around town together. Possibly though, this is part of the same escape sequence. MJ here does appear to be wearing the same outfit and still looks terrified, as the sound implies they are headed into a subway train. They swing just out of its path at the last second as we see the subway train's bright lights oncoming. This moment really reminds me of the PlayStation game, by the way. I don't know if anyone else is getting those vibes, but yeah, swinging around the subway. Now we are back with Doctor Strange. Peter is entering the Sanctum Sanctorium and Steven seems to be casting a spell to help him with his secret identity reveal, likely trying to make it, you know, secret once more using magic, like we've seen alluded to in previous trailers. In a voiceover, we hear Doctor Strange say, "When you botch that spell where you wanted everyone to forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man," likely this is from the midst of a conversation where Strange is explaining to Peter the consequences of his mess up. Though really, this whole mistake seems like it will be a team effort between the two heroes, as Strange probably shouldn't have been casting that spell to begin with. Something I think that should be noted for this sequence is that when we see Strange casting the spell, there is a ton of purple light glowing around the space. Also, his casting is orange, which we've seen before, but these colors seem to be recurring in the MCU recently, with orange appearing in Shang-Chi prominently, and purple appearing to be linked to Kang in the Loki series, and his minion, Eliath. Strange declares in voiceover, "We started getting some visitors," as we cut to what appears to be a goblin bomb bouncing into view on a bridge. There's that bridge again. More bridge battles. Activate! We also learn that the bridge appears to be the George Washington Bridge thanks to a road sign. Thank you, road sign. Once again, we see Green Goblin on his glider coming out of the smoke, and this version really does seem to resemble a masked version of Willem Dafoe's portrayal of the character. Strange seems to finish what he was saying earlier. All of this could be edits misleading us to think this is all one sentence though. If it is all the same sentence, it goes, "We started getting some visitors from every universe," implying that villains like Green Goblin could also be coming over from the Raimiverse and beyond, as Electro's appearance also implies, with him being a villain from ASM 2. Definitely some multiverse things happening. We also get our first look at the black and gold Spider-Man suit, which has set the internet on fire. So many people are speculating about this suit. Now, some think it could be a new Spider-Man, while others think it's just a new suit. Personally, to me, this version of Spider-Man looked very robotic, almost like android-like, just in the way he moved. So I personally think it could be some kind of like robo or AI Spider-Man, more than likely based on the stealth suit though that we all thought could have been an alternate Spidey in Far From Home. This black and gold look is just a new suit that possibly is even imbued by magic, and maybe made from vibranium just based on the look of those embedded gauntlets on it. Cut to Doc Ock busting out of the ground, grabbing stuff back on that bridge battle, or one of the bridge battles perhaps. Doc Ock says hi to Peter and does some intense claw arm fighting with him. We see Spider-Man unmask and Doc Ock doesn't seem to recognize his face, responding, "You're not Peter Parker." Cut to more cool fight sequences, and we then seemingly learn while Peter and his friends are together and confronting Dr. Octopus that Peter doesn't recognize him either, and even thinks his alliteration-based name, Otto Octavius, is hilarious. Hey Peter, you know your name is an alliteration too, right? And yet you don't laugh at your own name. Doctor Strange then seems to be calling recruits to help him fix the mess he and Peter made together. He asks for help from MJ and Ned, telling them to Scooby-Doo this crap, to which MJ asks him to use one of her magic words, please. In the midst of this, we get a few more shots of the black and gold Spider-Man web-slinging around, using his suit to do what appears to be some magic tricks, while Electro electrifies in the background, because he's Electro. It's likely this is Spider-Man in his new suit, perhaps going around to try and catch all the multiversal baddies, and possibly other folks that aren't bad but are maybe alternate Spider-Mans, rounding them up and sending them back home to their own realities. Doc Ock's voice is heard saying, "You're flying out into the darkness to fight ghosts," in voiceover, as we cut to black and gold Spider-Man swinging and leaping around town. Peter asks, "What do you mean?" possibly not in response to this statement directly. We get a shot of him with, I guess, his Scooby Gang? Can we call them the Scooby Gang now? I hope so. Also, can we talk about how Ned has a "This is fine" sticker on his laptop featuring said meme dog with a hat? I love it. I love that meme, and I just love that this is on the laptop. I know it's not important, but I like it. Strange seems to respond to Peter's question saying, "They all die fighting Spider-Man. It's their fate. I'm sorry, kid." Peter responds with, "Yeah, me too," and this seems to imply that in their mission to round up baddies, Peter will actually have a change of heart, unable to send these villains back to their realities, knowing that it means he's basically condemning them to death. He webs up some kind of runic-looking cube, possibly a powerful artifact that Strange has in his possession, attempting to take it away from him. This implies the cube is what Strange is using to try and set things right, and that Peter doesn't want him to have it because he obviously disagrees with this solution here. We then see Spider-Man holding said cube as he's suspended above the ground with two webs holding him in place that seem to be coming out of two different portals. Possibly these webs could be coming from alternate Spider-Mans, unless Peter somehow shot this web himself, which to me it kinda looks like he's shooting the web through one portal and Doctor Strange made the portals to make sure that he webbed his own foot, so he made him catch himself, if that makes sense. Also, these portals look very Doctor Strange to me. Either way, Doctor Strange does not seem to like that Peter has his cube and is, either pulling this portal trick or attempting to get away. And he lassos him with what appears to be perhaps the Crimson Bands of Cyttorak, which we've seen him use many times in the comics. Now granted, I do know that the Crimson Bands of Cyttorak in the MCU are an actual artifact, but he could be wearing this, under his suit, so these could be the Crimson Band. And if this is true, the orange of these bands, matching the orange of Shang-Chi's usage with the 10 rings, could imply that they're both connected to Cyttorak in the MCU, which is something I hadn't thought about before until I saw this trailer, and it could mean we're getting Juggernaut, a notorious X-Men villain who might also be entering the MCU along with, I don't know, the X-Men? X-Men? This is a lot of connecting the dots I'm doing here, but how cool would it be if this was all true? Spider-Man receives an astral punch, moving him out of his body as Doctor Strange likely attempts to regain his cube. I've seen some people even theorize that the Doctor Strange we get in this movie might not fully be himself, and may even be controlled or possessed by the spirit of Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, who might want to open up the multiverse at this point to finally get back her children, Billy and Tommy, who appeared in WandaVision, then disappeared, and possibly reappeared at the end, shouting for help from their mother. Solidifying the theory that Doctor Strange and Spider-Man will be at odds in this movie, we hear Peter in his suit say, "Look, there has to be another way." Doctor Strange seemingly responds, "There isn't. They are a danger to our universe," followed of course by more fighting shots. Spider-Man fights Doctor Strange on a train. Spider-Man fights Doc Ock, probably on that bridge. Spider-Man fights or flees Electro while holding the coveted cube. In between those moments though, there is also a shot of Aunt May running indoors, and it looks like she's running towards something. But what? This is where it gets really nuts, by the way, in this trailer. The city seems to be collapsing in on itself, similar to something we'd see in the mirror dimension that we explored in the Doctor Strange film. We also get a proper look at what appears to be almost a one-for-one of Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin look, implying that yeah, he's gonna be in the movie. And we hear a voice that sounds just like his saying, "Peter, you're struggling to have everything you want while the world tries to make you choose." Although honestly, this sounds like something Mephisto might say to the hero before offering him some kind of terrible contract or deal. We then get some rapid shots featuring all the villains we've seen thus far hinted at. It's possible there will be two versions of Green Goblin in the film, as we have two different designs appearing in this trailer for the character. The classic Willem Dafoe, and one with goggles and a hood. Possibly also Willem Dafoe, but just a different version, or another iteration of that character. We also see Sandman, Lizard, Electro, and Dr. Octopus, and if the two versions of the Green Goblin are one and the same character, this means there is still one mystery villain needed if we're going to get the Sinister Six reveal that I've long awaited and expected to come in No Way Home. Interspersed with our villain shots, we get one of Peter and MJ kissing, and another featuring a destroyed building with the DODC responding. Now for those unfamiliar, the DODC are the Marvel Universe's damage control. DODC stands for Department of Damage Control. Typically they specialize in post-battle cleanup. We also get a brief look at a poster for Captain America's musical. Happy Hogan also appears, and it looks like, oh, he's in some trouble. In a car, but somehow perhaps surrounded by laser-sighted rifles. There also seems to be a huge fight over the water, possibly near where the Statue of Liberty is being rebuilt or refurbished, and where Doctor Strange can no longer hold back whatever is coming through into their universe, surrounded by purple tendrils of clouds in the air. To me, this even implied other baddies coming through from the multiverse, possibly even a Kang or two, so it might not be all Spidey villains here. And that, my friends, is the trailer. Tickets are going to be on sale on November 29th, so keep it nerdy and get ready to gear up for Spider Monday. I know I'm getting my tickets early. Are you?